Hey guys, how's it going? Back at you again with another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about Chainsaw Man, the movie, the Reze Arc, and this of course picks up right where the first season left off. Now that Denji is firmly in the public safety unit, and he kind of gets to take a break for a little while after the events that just happened, and he's trying to decide, is he going to go with his boss Makima as they start, dating and getting to know each other, or is he falling for the girl Reze who works at the local coffee shop? And, this is not something I usually get on and review because I don't watch a whole lot of anime, and this was one where I saw the reviews on Letterboxd at like a 4.4. I'm like, well, I gotta go see this. But I was like, I have to get through the whole series. And I looked, it was like 12 episodes, less than 30 minutes. I'm like, I can bang this out in a week. And so that's what I did. And I went and saw this film. And so I think the show itself is great. Of course, it follows some of the exaggerated humor and over-emotional reactions that you get within anime, those kinds of tropes and whatnot. And I'm not particularly huge on those, but it doesn't ruin the fact that I think the writing of the show Chainsaw Man is actually really, really great. You soon forget, or at least stop questioning why he has a dog with a chainsaw in its head within the first few minutes into the first episode, because I think the character work is so great. Even if Denji himself is very uncomplicated on paper, because really he's just driven by eating food and wanting to have sex with a girl. So, you can kind of see where he's coming from. He's a young teenager. He's very horny. And so that plays very much a factor into this film. But what I absolutely love about the Reze Arc is you really do get those moments where you feel like Denji is slowly coming into himself and slowly, finding a purpose in all of this, which I think is a testament to how great the writing is. Like I said, he seems simple on paper, but there's a lot more going on in Denji's head, as, would be for any average teenager, except, this guy has a chainsaw that can come out of his head and his arms. So I really do love that this film is very much rooted in this coming-of-age story, which is really quite beautiful. You definitely get to see how he connects with Makima after they go on their date, but also Reze. I mean, she's much more his age, and she definitely appeals to his sensibilities in a way that hadn't really been opened up to him before, because this is a guy who's kind of thrust into this life that really wasn't chosen for him, and he hasn't really had time to, go to school or just be a kid. And I love that the movie highlights this so effectively, and I just think the dynamic between him and Reze is probably the best part of this movie. It is the beating heart of the story. And I think Reze especially is such a great addition to this film, because her character goes to some amazing places that I really didn't expect in the way that this narrative pans out. And I really was blown away by a couple of moments with her, and I think she is just so essential to how Denji also evolves as a character in tandem with her own arc. It is just so beautiful the way that these two are kind of weaved together in tandem. And there's this one sequence in the middle of the film, which is probably one of the most stunning scenes of the entire year, that it just leaves my jaw hanging open both times I saw it, because it is just one of the most beautifully done sequences in regards to, the thematics, the emotion, the animation, and how it's reflected against all of that. It is just absolutely brilliant and just so heartwarming to see. And I really do think that the character drama is what grips you in this story. But the second half of this movie, holy shit. Like, I was watching this, because this was so good, I had to go back a second time to see it, like, the day after. And when I was watching the second time, I'm like, is this as good as I thought it was the first? And then there's this one moment that happens in one of the fight sequences at the end, and I'm like, yeah, this is one of the best movies of the year. This is even better than season 1 as far as I'm concerned. I know it's, a different medium, so to speak, but this is fucking awesome. I really think once you get in that second half, you're already gripped by the emotional drama and the stakes that are happening within the story. But then you get the most insane anime action you have ever seen in your life. And literally, it's not just because, oh, it's so crazy, but like every single frame is so painstakingly detailed and artistic, and everything just pops off the screen with the visuals because there is so much effort put into the animation here. It really is astounding how not a single ounce of fat or, just any moments of weak animations are to be seen at all, because this is just such a refined piece, and they obviously knew that this was going to be a big hit, because as we've been seeing, especially with the Demon Slayer movie, which did tremendously well in the summer, I think anime movies, based on like shonen animes, are really popping off and really showing themselves to be successful in a way that some of these mainstream animated movies aren't. Which isn't to say that the next Minions movie won't make over $1 billion, but I do think studios should take notice of these movies because it is very profitable, and it was very smart of Sony to pick this up, especially when they didn't originally, release K-pop Demon Hunters like they wanted to. Now that movie has done fairly well, I mean, let's not deny that, but I do think that the effort that goes into these productions definitely shows, and I think pays off in dividends, especially considering the working climate in Japan of these Japanese animators and filmmakers, like we saw with Godzilla -1, a less than like around $10 million movie win Best Visual Effects at the Academy Awards. I mean, that's kind of crazy, and I think it goes to say a lot about their work ethic and how much effort they put into these films. And speaking of which, the action, if we're talking about effort here, it isn't just, this amazing thing to look at, because we've seen third acts in movies where it's this huge action spectacle, and that's what everybody talks about. It's like, oh, well, that was the best part, but there wasn't really much emotion behind it. And I think the reason that the action is so gripping outside of the stellar animation is because you are so invested in these characters and what happens. Literally everything is so well integrated into how the action of this movie evolves in the final act, and really goes to some deeply emotional and complicated places with that being said. And I really do love too, outside of Denji and Reze and Makima, all the other characters, well, at least a good few from the show, who may have not have gotten time to shine yet by the end of season 1, or, like Aki, who was a main fixture on the show, really get full character arcs, or at least are being pushed forward in a way that feels like there is a arc within this movie for them themselves. And so there's so many moving pieces to this narrative. I mean, not only is it just like absolutely off the charts, high octane, stellar animation, action set pieces, but there really is a beating heart to this story that really resonates in an ending that I think is absolutely one of the most incredible endings of the entire year. Just where they leave these characters is absolutely breathtaking, and just yet again, they tie so many things back together in a way that makes this movie feel complete. Not in a way where this feels fragmented like it would be individual episodes of a season, tied together in one movie. No, this is a full, complete story that has so much to offer to its audience. And yeah, I think, if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, you've probably seen this already. I know I'm so late on this review, but I wanted to talk about it while it's still in theaters, because this is one of my favorite movies of the year. This was just an experience that absolutely rocked me, and I cannot wait to get this on Blu-ray whenever that comes out, and I can't wait to see what they do next in the Chainsaw Man series and how they're going to adapt the rest of it. I know it's a manga, and so they have the story all parceled out, but I am so sucked into this show, and I think that this really is one of the most essential cinematic events of the year, and really another indicator that we are ushering in a new age of animation, which is really beautiful because I think all the 3D stuff has kind of gotten stale over such a long period of time in the 2010s. So this really gives me hope that there are some amazingly talented artists out there putting out work like this, and I hope the industry, like I said, takes notice, because this is nothing to turn a blind eye to. And I am going to give Chainsaw Man the movie, the Reze Arc, a 9.5 out of 10. My only complaints I would have with this is, you know, sometimes the over-exaggerated emotions are a little too much, a little cringy, but yet again, those moments are so few and far between, and they don't detract from the story at hand, which is just really one of the best coming-of-age tales that I've seen in a long time. So, yeah, guys, let me know if you saw Chainsaw Man, the Reze Arc, down in the comments below, and please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I believe my next review is going to be Die My Love. I think I can get that one out pretty quickly and handedly, so stay on the lookout for that, and so much more coming down the pipeline. I mean, we're only a few days out from Wicked for Good, so I cannot wait to see that and share my thoughts on it with you guys. So until then, take it easy, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.